Hey guys, today's topic is going to be about siblings. I've already done one on family, but siblings is a fun one. I have an older sister, and stuff that I wish I could have learned and been told when growing up that I've learned now. I feel like it's important to share. Hi! Um, Me and my sister have 4.5 year difference in age. And growing up, when I was probably from the ages of 1 to 10, we were very close. Very, 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 very close. I mean, we did projects together, we hung out a lot. When I was 9 years old, I climbed a chain link fence and slipped and ended up cutting my arm and had to get 14 stitches. And that was bad enough. But when I got the stitches out, I had gone to a church camp with my sister, and I was playing on a bouncy house, and someone fell on me and ended up pinning my arm right after I got the stitches, and I screamed so loud. And my sister was like halfway across the auditorium, like she was nowhere close to me. She heard that scream and she knew that it was me and that something was majorly wrong, so she just came running. And that's a good thing to keep in mind when you're dealing with hardships and drama with your siblings. After that point, was when I started kind of we got a little bit more distant because she was 4.5 years older than me. We didn't really have as much in common once we got older. And it became a problem for us because, growing up homeschooled with an older sibling, you pretty much you guys are your friends. And then when you get older and you start hanging out with different people, it's hard as at least a little sibling to not feel that pang of jealousy of she's my sister, I should know more about her and be her best friend. Why are these people taking my place? And we had some difficult times. I mean, it was hard to remember the fact that we were 4.5 years different when I kind of was doing my own thing and maturing faster or whatever. And it was one of those things that you gotta keep in thought is you will have day-to-day stupidity arguments and you'll get annoyed by stuff, but it's important to keep intact with the relationship. It's important to, when you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm completely done with this, like she's just aggravating me, you got to remember that not everyone is going to be your closest person at the time that you want them. And my sister, she we had a lot of difficult struggles, but growing up and especially once I got married, it seems like we're able to talk more freely and talk more openly and be able to just hang out because it's the maturity level of it all. Like you can think that you're as mature as them, but it's not always the case, and it's hard to be able to relate and talk to someone when the maturity wise isn't the same. And that's something that I wish I could have remembered was we had so many fights and so many misunderstandings because I refused to actually think that my sister knew what I would be talking about. Because no two people are the same, and we didn't agree on a lot. But the one thing that we've always kind of stuck to is we're sisters. Means come hell or high water, we'll make it through the end of the day before anyone else. And I've heard a lot of siblings talk about how they don't think their sibling would understand and different things. Well, she may not, like, I talked to her about the adoptions and whatnot, and she hasn't gone through that. She hasn't had a baby, but she can understand to a point, and that's the thing is they can, even if they haven't gone through it, they can understand. I hear a lot of people talking about how, like, oh, they wouldn't be able to understand different things, and they just isolate themselves from their family. And it's hard because, I mean, it's very easy to do that and to have that mindset, but it's also very damaging because they're your family. I mean, you can't really have any others. Like, you can always have the friends that are practically family and pretty much family, but you can't replace your actual family. And that's the thing that you got to realize as a younger sibling is they can have friends and they can have best friends and they can know things about your sibling that you may not know, but at the end of the day, they're still your sibling, and that's what matters most. And it was very hard through high school remembering that. Because she was in college, and I was in high school, and I was dealing with stuff, and she was dealing with stuff. And I was like, you don't understand. Not thinking that maybe she may not understand what I'm going through completely, but she could give me some very, very good advice. And growing up, we didn't talk for a while because I'd gotten to this point where I wanted to cut people out that didn't line up with exactly what I wanted. And it's not, you can't put your family into this box and say, if you don't fit into this box, I'm not talking to you. Because you're just going to end up isolating yourself from everyone that will actually care. I mean, growing up, I had a temper. And I still have a temper, but it's not as bad. I had a temper like no other, and I grew up hearing my parents tell me that because we're your family, we will be with you forever. But you pull this on anyone else, and they'll leave you in a heartbeat. And I didn't believe them at first. Then I saw friends kind of dropping when that started happening. And it really does, it is true because my sister got a humongous part of that. And she still loved me. She didn't talk to me as much because she didn't want to get yelled at, but she still loved me. She was still here for when I needed her. And that's the thing is your friends won't. Your friends will get flaky. Your friends will have stuff come up. Your friends are not perfect, and they're not your family. They're not the ones that will continuously, no matter what, stick with you. And especially your siblings, it's a bond like no other because you have your parents, which are trying to teach you things, and then you have your sibling, which is the person that you can confide in on things that you don't. Me personally, I didn't really want my parents knowing a lot of things at the time. So I would talk to my sister about them, and she would do the same with me. And it's good to have that person that isn't your friend that's just going to tell you what you want to hear, but also is the step before telling your parents so you can fine tune what you're going to tell them. And it's an important thing because, I mean, my sister was there through big parts. She was one of the people that tried to stop me from making the mistake that I did before I moved out. She was the person that continuously kept putting herself in the line of fire, trying to save our family. And it couldn't have been easy because I was a mess. And that's the thing is you have to realize that you may not agree with them all the time, but they'll fight till the bitter end for you, and that's what she did. And You can have stupid day-to-day fights, but in the end, that's what really counts. And that's one of the reasons why, with me moving out the way I did and different things, it wasn't just my father's heart I broke, it wasn't just my mom's, it was my sister's. And you have to grasp that you may not be super close with them, but it still can hurt them. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to hurt your siblings. You don't want to put them in a path that could potentially damage them, because sisters are for life. I mean, as hard as it is to say, at some point in your life, your parents are going to move on and pass away, and you're going to be left with your siblings. And you don't want to ruin that because of some stupid fight or misunderstanding or thinking that they wouldn't understand. Because more often than not, they will. And that's the thing is you have to be willing to listen. And not too many people are. And it's tough. I've had to come to grips with the fact that me and my sister view life and view things separately. But when it comes down to the fundamental things, we're two peas in a pod. And that's the thing is when you get to the point where you stop having this challenge of the friendships, that I have to be her best friend and I have to be the one that she always goes to and I have to be the one she hangs out with more. You start fine-tuning the fact of treasuring the moments you actually have together when you have them. Because if you don't, you're just going to be caught up in this struggle of envy and frustration, and it's not going to go well. I mean, the majority of my fights with her were because of friendships, because I had this jealousy of I didn't want anyone to be closer to my sister than me. They weren't allowed, and if they got that way, I threw a hissy fit. And that made us even more at odds. And you have to come to grips with the fact that you can have friends, they can have friends, but not to push each other out when it comes down to the seriously important things. My family grew up with a rule of basically like what happens in the house stays in the house. And a lot of people misunderstood it as we were trying to make ourselves look perfect to the outside eye, and we weren't wanting anyone to see any drama that we had or any issues. And it's not really that. It's, as a family, that is our right to have it be kept in our family, because there are things that you don't need to be telling your friends or anyone else. It's a family matter. And that's the thing that kind of stuck with me is family matters need to be kept family matters. And sometimes people kind of do the gray lines of this friend is pretty much family, which then I get that, but it's not something you go posting on Facebook. It's not something you go doing that with, because it's more important that you deal with it with your family. And a lot of people don't grasp that, and a lot of people don't realize that, and it's important to remember, that's for sure. And I'm very, very glad that me and her have a better relationship now, and I treasure it. And I hope that whoever is listening to this can remember to treasure their own siblings. And if you're at that time where your sibling is on the outs with you, just remember to pray for them and to pray that whatever they're going through, even if you don't know, that they'll be able to get through it through God. And just stay positive and don't stop trying. I mean, never stop trying to reconnect. It's worth it. And with that, I'm going to end this one. I hope you guys enjoyed today. It's a little bit more of an insight onto my life. Um, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I will see you guys later. Bye.